Hello and welcome. My name is Valentina Whitfield with Century 21B3, and
I'm Kim Hajek with Hajek Home Loans, powered by the Mortgage Network.
today we're going to be talking about credit score and why you should not neglect your credit score. So, how much does a buyer credit score really impact their ability to purchase a home?
It's very significant, actually. So basically, the credit is determining how likely they are to repay a debt. And that's what a mortgage is. So that's one of the first things that we're going to look at is that credit score. So it's huge. They have to have credit scores within a certain amount. Now we impact. It's one of the qualifying methods. And I'll back up a little bit. You can get somebody qualified without a credit score. That's called a manual approval. But we are still going to look that they have some type of a payment history with something like rent, their car, insurance, their utilities. So it's all about showing that they are likely to repay a debt. So very, very important.
What role does credit score play in determining interest rate and loan options?
It plays a big role. So basically, the higher the credit, typically the better the interest rate. And then with each type of loan, there's typically a minimum credit score that we're able to use or to lend on. So with FHA, it's typically got to be a 580 or higher. And then with conventional, we like to see a 620 or higher. The biggest part about credit and interest rate is that, again, the better the credit score, the better the interest rate. So if you have somebody who has a large down payment, but necessarily doesn't have a credit score that's, maybe like a 680 or higher, sometimes it's better to put them into an FHA loan versus a conventional loan. But we're going to look at the options. I mean, at the end of the day, making sure that your credit is in good standing is going to help you financially all the way around, whether it is with a mortgage, whether it is with a credit card or what have you. But it plays a huge part in getting your mortgage lending. And bottom line is we want to see the likelihood to repay a debt. And that's what your credit score does. It determines how likely you are to repay that debt, which is why we look at it.
Awesome. Can a small difference in credit score actually change how much a buyer pays over time?
Absolutely, because that's going to come down to the interest rate. So if you're changing your interest rate by 0.5%, and you could be changing your payment anywhere from $20 to $50 depending on the amount of your loan. So it's big. It's very big. And so it gives you more buying power. At the end of the day, it's more affordability and it's more buying power.
That's awesome.
So, watching that credit and making sure that you're keeping that score as high as you possibly can, it's priceless.
It truly is.
Yeah.
So now we can talk about real financial impact. Can you give an example of how two buyers with different credit scores might pay very different monthly payments?
Yeah, absolutely. So if we go and we think about a credit score that might be a 580, and we think about somebody who potentially has a high 700 credit score, they potentially, again, have that ability to be saving maybe $100 or more per month, and then the interest rates could be maybe 0.5% or more different. So financially, it's going to set somebody up from, applying for a loan that probably has lower down payment, but it could be a higher not only interest rate, but higher payment and loan amount, of course. And it's going to be the difference between the type of loan that you can do. So it could be that, instead of being able to go conventional and not have mortgage insurance, you might have to go FHA and have mortgage insurance.
Wow.
So
big difference.
It is a big difference. And that's why starting early is very important. Watch your credit, see what you have to do, and make a plan.
Absolutely. And how does a lower credit score affect total costs over the life of the loan?
So mortgages are amortized. And with amortization, of course, you're paying interest over your life of your loan. So the higher your interest rate, the higher interest you are paying for the life of that loan. So we're now talking, could be hundreds of thousands, depending on the size of your loan. So it is important to, get that full picture and then make sure that whatever your goal is, to start achieving that first with your credit.
So start working on your credit first.
Start working on your credit first, because it's going to make a big impact for you.
At what point does a credit score start costing buyers significantly more money? Is it throughout the years, months? Like, when do they start seeing it?
Immediate. It's an immediate impact.
Wow.
Because, it's going to be your monthly payment. And then, of course, cost over time. You're paying more interest over the time of that loan. Right. So it's, it could be a 30-year cost for you. But credit can be healed like wounds. Time heals all wounds. Credit can be healed and it can be fixed. So let's say that you get into a mortgage right now and your credit score is a little bit lower. You can work on your credit, get your credit score up, and potentially refinance into better financing.
Nice.
So
that's great.
Always options.
What are the top 3 mistakes you see buyers make before applying, like missed payments or high balances or credit cards, and how do they kill approvals that way?
So literally what you just said. One, you miss a payment, it's gonna have a huge impact on your credit score. So do not miss payments. Like, if you're planning to buy, make sure you're making every minimum payment and hopefully paying extra to pay down your balances. Increasing balances can, of course, it's going to go against the available credit that you have. So the higher the balance, typically the lower your credit score possibly may be. And then lastly is opening new credit. So if you're going to apply for new credit, remember that's brand new history on your credit, and your history is 35% of your credit score. So now you have a brand new item that's just been opened, it can pull down your credit score. Wow. So that's a mistake to do before you apply, but let's say you're in the process and you open something new. Now you have a new debt, and we have to look at that and bring that new debt into the picture and approve you with that. So you might have gone from being completely pre-approved to now you're not pre-approved.
Wow.
Yeah. So
just like that.
And just like that. So if you're going to be making changes and you're in the loan process, talk to your lender. Make sure they know what you're doing and you're having a discussion, because if you really want that house, you're going to do what you have to do and maybe not open that credit card, or maybe you're not going to get a car loan right now and you're going to make adjustments to be able to get your home. That's
right. What actions should buyers avoid once they start the home buying process?
Do not open new credit. Do not. Don't even, like, you go to Amazon and it says we can split this up in this many payments, right? Yeah. 4 monthly payments. Well, you have just started a revolving account by doing that.
Wow.
Which is a credit card.
That's
I actually
insane.
had the date of closing a client do this, and I got a call at the closing table and said, hey, there is a new inquiry and it looks like there's a new account. And we had to take that back into underwriting. We still got him closed the same day because he did, he's still approvable, thank goodness. But, I talked to my client and I'm like, you just opened something new. He's like, no, it was Amazon. Well, guess what? That counts. So, that's huge. Like, do not open new credit, but more importantly, don't miss payments, because the last thing you want to do, let's say something, if it falls out, like you're in the process and maybe inspections or something happens and you decide to back out of this house, and you end up buying, and your credit report is typically good for 4 months, about 120 days. Well, we might be approaching that, and we might need to pull a new credit report by the time you're going to apply or put in a contract on another one. And if there's significant changes, again, that can cause an issue. So you just want to be squeaky clean. Like, keep every crevice nice and clean, right? So same with your credit. Like, you're not going to open anything new. You're going to pay everything on time. And you're just going to be a good kid, right? At the end of the day, you're going to be good so that you can buy this house. It is. It's typically 30 days. So it's not that hard, but you want to be very cognizant, because home buyers get excited and they want to buy furniture and they want to buy that new refrigerator. And, we live in a now world. We don't want to do it all right now. Yeah. But this is a time where you're going to take a deep breath and you're going to wait, because what's more important is getting the keys to that house.
That's great advice. Talking about checking and fixing credit. Mm-hmm. When should buyers check their credit before starting the home buying process?
Now. So annualcreditreport.com. Again, annualcreditreport.com. You can pull your free credit report from each of the bureaus, and you can keep an eye on your credit. We're not, like, your goal in pulling that is not to see what your score is, because we all have, a credit card that gives that to us, or your bank, and you can look at it through there too. But you want to look at your credit and you want to see if something's not reported correctly, and if so, you want to take care of that. There might be some late payments, and now we want to give, remember I said time heals all wounds, now you want to give that a little bit of time, so we're past maybe 6 months or 12 months to let that credit score improve from that late payment. And even more importantly is how much you owe on revolving credit, your credit cards. Okay. So those balances, let's just say you have $1,000 balance, right? Ideally, if you're using 25% or less, your credit score should be higher, because it's showing that you have the ability to utilize credit smartly and to keep your balances low. So a lot of people will use credit cards to build points or what have you, but they don't know when that's reported to the credit bureaus. So they might have, per se, $1,000, and they just went out and bought, because we all know groceries are expensive, maybe they bought $400 or $500 worth of groceries, and it gets reported before they make that payment. So looking at that credit report is going to give you that indication. Then you know, okay, I need to pay this down before I want to apply, and make sure that it's now reporting on credit. Just because you paid it doesn't mean that it gets reported to the credit bureaus right away. No. So always, when is a good time? Now, and keep going. Like, keep an eye on your credit. Like, if you're keeping an eye on it, you know what's there. And you can't fix what you don't know.
Exactly. I usually check mine monthly.
Yeah, and why not? Like, it's such a good idea. And each of the bureaus, so TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian are typically the bureaus that we're using for a mortgage. So those are the 3 bureaus that you want to keep an eye on. And just make sure that you're looking at each of them to see where your scores are.
Nice. What should they be looking for on their credit reports? Because that's something that I ask myself constantly.
So look at the inquiries to make sure that you haven't pulled any new credit, right? Mm-hmm. You want to make sure that there's so much fraudulent things going on, and neither you nor I can control what bad people are doing. Yeah, so by looking at those inquiries, you'll know if there's no inquiries, nobody's looked into your credit. Really, it's just making sure the information on there is accurate. That's what you're looking for. Is it accurate? Each credit bureau has different algorithms as to how they're doing their scoring. So you're not going to know exactly what the algorithm is, but ideally having that 25% or less is going to help you achieve better credit scores.
Nice.
On revolving accounts.
How common are errors on credit reports, and how can buyers dispute them?
So they're common. However, I mean, there's usually some underlying something that's happened. So, and one of the biggest things is, like, this is what I see a lot, is somebody who has a medical bill, or, some type of something out there where they've gone and they think insurance or something's going to pay for it, and then it gets reported.
Wow.
So it's just, doing those checks, see if it comes up, and then disputing it is honestly a little bit of a pain, because you go through the credit bureau and you can dispute it. But more importantly, go directly to who's reported it and work with them to get it removed, because they should be the ones who are removing it. And you don't want to just show zero balance. Like, if it's reported in error, they should delete that, like completely take it off of your credit report. And it's your due diligence. You are the one who's going to have to follow up. Now, they should be the ones to do it because they've reported it in error. However,
you should still look.
You need to look and you need to follow up, and it's going to take a little bit of time. Having a dispute, so this is a good question. Having a dispute on your credit means that credit, when it gets reported, item disputed, credit line disputed, that item is not calculated into your credit score once it's disputed. Okay. So if we're getting a score and something's disputed, we got to get that dispute resolved or removed, that comment removed, so we can get a true credit score. So very important that you dispute and you get it done quickly, and that it's resolved or removed. Like, if it shouldn't be there, make sure it gets removed.
So would that affect, like, a client, a buyer,
yes,
purchasing a home? Wow.
Yep.
Did not know. That's good to know.
So another reason, check your credit report, because you might have disputed something and in your mind it's all resolved, but it's still showing on your credit report. So very important to follow up and check that.
Okay, what are the fastest ways someone can improve their credit score before applying?
Pay down your revolving credit. So I call it the credit game. And it really is kind of a game if you look at it that way, because you can manipulate your credit score, one, of course, by having everything paid on time, but also by paying down your balances will significantly increase your score. So definitely something to do. Pay down those revolving credit, because that's the one thing you can control, right?
Yes.
What you owe on an installment loan, if you don't have money to pay it, that's not gonna help. And actually paying an installment debt will only help you with a mortgage, debt to income wise. It's not gonna necessarily, paying that off doesn't improve your credit necessarily, because you're already paying it on time, hopefully, and all is good. So it's really the revolving credit.
Nice. Coming to a credit preparation strategy, mm-hmm. How far in advance should someone start working on their credit before buying a home?
There is never a bad time to start checking it. I honestly believe that as soon as you have credit, you should be checking your credit. So not just because you're buying a home, but you should always be checking it. But in my opinion, I think it's important to start at minimum 6 months out, because that gives you time. And then you have time to put your budget together. You have time to save down payment if you need it. Like, there's a whole bunch of things that you can do. So once you have credit, check your credit. If you're looking to buy a home, and just keep doing it. It's not going to hurt anything to check your credit. And then as far as buying a home, like, the sooner the better. Like, there's no time better than right now.
What's considered good credit versus a great one in today's market?
So credit scores theoretically can go up to 850. So, stellar is going to be anything over 800. Honestly, in our world, anything that's between a 760 to a 780, if you're going to have, interest rate, that's going to help you. If you have mortgage insurance on a conventional loan, that's going to get you lower mortgage insurance. So that's going to help. When we're looking at government loans, anything over 700 definitely helps, but that doesn't mean that you cannot get a loan if you're lower than that amount. There are options.
What habits or strategies help maintain a strong credit profile during the process?
Everything with credit comes down to paying on time, low balances, and they do say a good mix. So I always tell somebody who doesn't have credit, start with one credit card. A lot of people like to start with more than one, but start with one and get a good history going with that. Keep your balances low. 25% or less of the credit limit is important. If you go over, you can go online and pay your cards, right?
Yes.
And do not overutilize. Credit cards are not there to be your bank or your paycheck. Credit cards are available to, really to help you achieve good credit, but they're there, of course, to get good sales at, any store you go into is going to offer you these great deals, right?
Yes.
But you pay on time, keep your balances low, and do eventually, go to having a good mix, like having an installment loan and some credit cards. And then actually, once you get a mortgage, that's another mix of credit that you're putting in. That helps you improve your credit score over time too, when you have all on-time payments.
Nice. How can a lender help a buyer improve or optimize their credit before applying?
So it's education. At the end of the day, it's all education. Now, if we pull somebody's credit and they are credit challenged, maybe they have some late payments or some things that are reported incorrectly, we do have services that can help them with repairing or getting things corrected. So there are services out there, but there is a ton of public information that's available as well. If you go to Annual Credit Report, if you go to TransUnion, if you go to Equifax or Experian, there is a lot of information of what you can do to improve your credit and to keep your credit in good standing or repair your credit. It all has to be public knowledge, but there are services out there too.
What tools or programs do you offer to boost credit fast?
So, I think we've all heard of the credit boost of reporting like utilities and that type of thing. I have seen that help with some, improving it. But the biggest thing is paying down revolving accounts. That is what's really going to help. Now, if you're early in the game, getting added to, like if you have children or your parent can add you to a card, a revolving credit card that they've had over time as an authorized user, that's a really quick boost as well to help improve credit scores. They are getting scrutinized more and more by underwriters, but a really quick fix could be, maybe get added as an authorized user, to get the credit score up a little bit. Doing the boost, adding your rent or your utilities does help a little bit. But overall, low balances on credit cards is where I've seen the biggest bang for, increasing credit scores.
Nice. Why do many buyers underestimate the importance of their credit score?
Because they don't know. What we don't know, we don't know. Literally, that's it. It's education. Like doing what you're doing, like bringing this out and sharing that, your credit really is important.
It truly is.
Yeah. And there's so many of, I didn't know. I started credit young and I didn't know I love to shop, and so you go out and you pay these things or you increase the amounts that you owe on your credit cards, and then, oh my gosh, now I have to pay this? Are you kidding me? So it's just, we don't know what we don't know. So it's literally education, like letting people know that your credit is very important.
It truly is.
It's having a healthy credit is one of the biggest financial tools that we have, and we do have control over it.
How should buyers think about credit, not just for approval, but for long-term financial health?
Exactly like we said, it is part of your financial portfolio. So yes, it's not necessarily making you money, but it can save you money. Like having that higher credit score can get you the better interest rate, the better type of loans. So in the long term, having a healthy credit score and healthy credit over a long term is going to achieve your whole financial picture because of your borrowing power and the interest that you're going to pay.
What is the difference between rushing into the market versus preparing your credit first and then going into the market?
At the end of the day, it's saving money. It's saving money and being prepared. So if you rush in and you haven't really done the research to see what's going on with your credit, or maybe what you can do to increase your credit scores, you could be paying a higher interest rate, anywhere from 1/8 and maybe up to 1%. Like until we get that full financial picture, we can't really determine what the difference will be. But starting early really is important. It really is. Like, it's going to make all the difference.
Yeah, so taking care of your credit equals saving money, essentially.
Taking care of your credit equals saving money, 100%.
Kim, what's the number one myth about credit you wish every buyer would stop believing?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think I would say having that mix of credit. So sometimes we take that and we think, oh, if I have a whole bunch of credit cards, that's going to help me have good credit. And they'll go out and they'll get credit cards, or they'll even get secured credit cards, which I am a believer of a secured credit card because that will help you start your credit history. But I think they think that they can get that mix and then that's going to solve it. Well, you also have to know how to achieve that score, and again, the lower balances. The other myth is going to be, I think people think that they can have a credit card or revolving account and they can close it and it doesn't have an effect. 35% of your credit score is your history.
Yes, I did that.
If you close,
and it hurt.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you close, you've had this credit card, and I'm going to just use a store credit. You've had a Kohl's credit card. You're like, I don't use this. I don't need this anymore, and I'm going to close it. But you've had that for 5 years, and that's the card that you've had the longest. All good history. No late payments. Everything is good on that card. And you close it, you've lost all that history. And then I'm going to give you one more. Closing a card that has a balance on it. It is a very negative effect. Wow. Do not close a revolving card that you have a balance on, because you're going to see your credit score go down pretty darn quickly. So don't do that. And I know I was supposed to say one, but there's another one. And I find this in people that are older, they're now using cash, they have money in the bank, and they're like, I don't need to use credit cards. They have.
That's how I used to think.
Yeah. If you have open revolving credit and you no longer use it, after you haven't utilized that for a year or more, some of those companies will close those accounts. You've just lost years. I mean, I've seen people that lose 20, 40 years of credit history because they stopped using those and they closed the cards for non-use. They lost all that they lost all that history. So we actually had a gentleman, this is years and years ago, We had him completely pre-approved. He had put in an offer. That one didn't go through. Put in another offer. Credit was expired. We go to pull credit. No scores.
Oh, goodness.
So it changes a lot because it's going to change the type of loan that we can do.
Good information.
Yeah.
So if you take away anything from this video, it should be these 3 main points. Your credit score isn't just a number, it's your buying power. Preparation beats rushing every time. And a better score today can save you thousands tomorrow. My name is Valentina Whitfield with Century 21.
And I'm Kim Hajek with Hajek Home Loans, powered by the Mortgage Network.
Y'all have a great day.